It is impossible to be a vegan or vegetarian and survive in Vietnam. Or is it? We were really surprised by our stay of 20 days here. In the beginning, it felt scary, but by the end, it felt like a great discovery, something new and wonderful. It felt like falling in love with this beautiful country and its incredible cuisine, which always felt so light on our bodies. In this video, we'll cover the capital city of Hanoi, incredible Halong Bay, and the magical Ninh Binh, all located in the northern part of Vietnam.
Our first meal in Hanoi was at Kai Mam Bistro. This fine dine restaurant is known for its luxe interiors and its signature vegan menu. But we landed up at the wrong one. A staff member escorted us to the right one on his bike, and it was quite the journey. Vidhi got the wood-themed sampling platter, and I got the fire. The food looked great, but it tasted flat and boring. Most of it was under-seasoned, and the soups were not even hot. The staff was super friendly and gave us a complimentary dessert. But this $30 meal wasn't great. For dinner, we were off to Katsa. This was our first experience of the classic Vietnamese joint that's run out of the house of the family that owns it. And we were apprehensive because this was our first experience at a place like this. But once we got a table, all our worries were laid to rest. What a fantastic meal and what an incredible story. You can see how much they are loved by all these fantastic reviews. It was a cold night in Hanoi and the food was served piping hot. And even though we ordered just a couple of things, the family kept sending out more and more plates. We didn't know it at the time, but this was the start of the journey of falling in love with Vietnamese food. What a glorious meal. And all of this for just $6. Next day, we were off to the incredible Halong Bay. We chose a 2-day, 1-night package on Doris Cruise. This ended up being the best cruise I have ever been on and a really unique and fascinating experience. We were especially worried about the food options here, but the staff had promptly responded by email when we had let them know that we were vegan. So we shouldn't have been worried. These guys really sorted us out. There was a buffet and we got some fries, sushi, a salad, a plate of savory dumplings, and these sweet dumplings with a sweet bean filling. There was a tofu soup and some noodles as well. This was more than what we expected and it was easily enough to feel full and satisfied. We then spent some time kayaking in the calmest of waters, right in the center of Lan Ha Bay. I am scared of water and I can't swim, but I think this was my favorite water-based activity ever. It was just so relaxing. Our next meal was our favorite. We started with a sweet potato fritter and a raw mango salad. We then got some fried spring rolls and steamed spring rolls. And we finished with some steamed rice, a curry, and some blanched veggies. Before breakfast the next morning, we went for a glorious boat ride. The breakfast was very similar to the lunch, so no complaints. Overall, we loved this wonderful cruise, and it is expensive compared to other activities in Vietnam, but it still felt like we got great value. And we'd honestly recommend the 1-night, 2-day package instead of the more popular 2-night, 3-day one. Because we think that eating the same food for 3 days in a row might just get a little bit boring, and you have more than enough time to enjoy the activities within 2 days. After this magical cruise, we were off to Ninh Binh. When you look at a vegan map of Hanoi, you realize that you have a lot of options. But when you look at a vegan map of Ninh Binh, you start feeling worried. Such few options and there's a language barrier, and what if the Google listing is not updated or they have odd timings, or what if they are shut for the season? Our first meal was at Noun, a highly rated vegan restaurant in Ninh Binh. As usual in Vietnam, the spring rolls were fantastic. It was a cool evening and these rolls just hit the spot. The chickpea curry with rice was very tasty. And so was the tempeh with peanut ginger sauce. We especially liked this one. It was so hearty and warming. And just look at this cheesecake. The crust and cream cheese filling were fantastic. and the passion fruit topping was super tangy. The chocolate cake was good too. Noun means delicious, and this spot lives up to the name. Next day, we got breakfast at our beautiful hotel. They had noted we were vegan when we checked in and made the fried rice especially for us. You get a couple of other things at the breakfast as well, so you can easily manage. We were then off to the magical Chang'an. But before that, we decided to pack a lunch from Banh Mi Hanoi. While waiting, we had a coconut coffee, and as usual, it was phenomenal. Vidhi thinks that this one was the best one of the entire trip. Just look at the love. She enjoyed every last drop of it. Chang'an is a magical place. The boat ride here was so unique and so special. The landscape was similar to many parts of India, but the cave system was nothing like I had ever seen, not even in movies. The boat ride comes with a lot of stops, and the one in the middle is the longest, so that you can enjoy your lunch. We had the banh mis we had packed earlier, and they were both delicious. They had definitely taken a bit of a beating, but were still super tasty. Once we were back, we headed straight to Banh Mi Hanoi for a hot chocolate. North Vietnam can be surprisingly cold sometimes, and Vidhi had a bit of a religious experience with this one. After a tiring day and the heavy hot chocolate, we decided to skip dinner. Wait, who are we kidding? Food's what we are here for. So we went straight back to Noun. The first meal was so good, we had to go back again. The falafel salad bowl was excellent and convinced me that these guys can do no wrong, whatever the cuisine. The braised tofu was hot and delicious. And we saved the best for last. The mango sticky rice was the best one I've ever had. The rice was warm and slightly salty and was topped with sesame seeds. The mango was great and the sweetened coconut cream brought everything together. What a comforting way to end this glorious meal. There was something special about the food here. Everything we tasted was made with a level of love and technique that really stood out. After Ninh Binh, we were back to the capital city of Hanoi. For lunch, we went to Banh Mi Vegan, a classic Vietnamese gem that's not the easiest to find. But before that, let's fast forward to our dinner at the magnificent U Dam Chai, a 4-story monument celebrating vegetarian Vietnamese food. But the service felt impersonal and the food took ages to arrive. And yes, it did look amazing, but sometimes this can work against you. Sure, we can add color to rice and the pigments can even be natural, but what's the point? To achieve this spectrum of color, you need to add way too much rice for a single mango. Most of the food was good, but not great. But we loved spending this evening with our friends Ronak and Upa. Our favorite part of the evening was spending time at this classic Vietnamese tea joint right after dinner. And now back to our lunch earlier in the day. Just look at the sign on the wall. I was blown away. When you're traveling in major European cities, you are made to feel so weird if you expect free drinking water. And usually, the more high-end the place, the stranger the vibe is. This sign was a sign that these guys really knew what's up. And the food was outstanding. The Vietnamese spring rolls are just the best. And we love the way it's served with even more fresh produce and dipping sauces. These fried pillow donuts were incredible. They were filled with soy meat and vermicelli. This banh mi was one of the best ones we had on our trip. The bread was just incredible, and it's just such a unique take on a sandwich. It's so light and refreshing. We loved this meal. You always feel worried when you travel to small towns, especially in foreign countries. But every time we have done it, our experience has been really good. People are so accommodating. And even if they can't understand your reasons for doing what you do, the instinct to make sure that their guest is well fed is so strong, especially in Asian countries. We loved our meals in Hanoi, especially the ones in the family-run restaurants. And we also loved our meals on the cruise and at Ninh Binh. So, if you're planning a trip to North Vietnam, it's time to get really excited.